Welcome to another class of Python for app development. In this class, I'm going to show you how you can create a switch inside of your app. And by the class goes, or in our next class, I'm also going to be showing you how you can make it interactive and how you can make it functioning with the other things or the other interactive buttons or widgets. So this class is going to be very vital because this is the starting of the switch class. So without any further ado, let's move on to our class by opening up PyCharm on our device. As we are going to be creating ourselves a visualization app, we have to start playing it up and we're going to be creating a switch at the bottom over here. Okay. So let's just go off of the KV file and then make sure that you are on the widget example. And after the widget example, make sure that you see this page layout and also label and create a couple of space. Okay. So here I'm going to make sure that the indentation level is the same as the button and the label and also the toggle button. So to start off creating your switch, you have to put in the command. So I'm going to put in switch as the command or as the definition. And inside, what I'm going to do is going to be creating myself inside as an on active button. So why are you creating an on active button and why not using a toggle button? Because the switch functions a bit different from the toggle button. So you can either use the on active and you can also try the on toggle button. You can try both. And I'm also going to be showing you how you're going to be creating that and how it's going to make a difference. Okay. First thing, what I'm going to do is first off, I'm going to create my size of the button. So I'm going to put in a colon over here. Now, not the size, I'm going to put in size hint. I'm going to put in a colon. And right after that, I'm not going to be using any specific size. And you can try putting in a none. And then I'm going to put in a width button. Okay. So I'm going to put or fix out the width. So here on none, and I'm going to put in 0.1 as the value or 10% as the value. And here, as I'm not using a specific width inside of my size, and I'm going to put in the width function over here, and I'm going to keep it, let's say 90 dp. So now if I play out the whole thing, you will basically see we have our switch turning off and on. And now Python has also understood that this is how you will be able to create yourself up a button and also how you can make sure that it is interactive. But this is not just it. We're also going to be making it interactive. So to make it interactive, what I'm going to do is that we are going to be making or using the function over here, which I already told you. So if you try using the root count enable. So let's just say I'm going to put in on button click. Okay. So if I put in on button click right over here, let's just take this over here, on button click. And if I put in a colon over here, and you have to put in the Boolean value, okay? So you're also going to copy out the, let's say, root on toggle button. So I'm going to do is going to be root on toggle button over here. Let's just copy up the whole thing and make sure this is also self-argumented. So I'm going to put it over here, root on button click and state self. Okay, but let's just play it out and you might see it might show you an error like this. So now you know that you need the on active button. So I'm going to do is going to be removing this on active. Okay. And now you're also going to be changing this on switch because we are using the switch, not a toggle button. Okay. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to close this on switch. And now I'm also going to be turning it on as an active. But the active is going to work as a Boolean value. So make sure to keep that thing in mind. So I'm going to put in active. Okay. And make sure to also put in the self over here. And then what you're going to do is going to go off to the main py file and you're going to define it just the way you want to. So there we go. We have active as the value. And we're going to go at the bottom of this one over here right after else of the toggle button. Okay. Make sure not to put it inside the stack layout, but instead put it inside of the on button click or the toggle button state. Okay. So you're going to find the on toggle button state over here. You can see on button click. You're going to change it into toggle button state. Okay. So whenever you find this toggle button state or the definition of it, just go down and make sure the indentation level is the same as the definition over here. So I'm going to put in def over here put in a colon if you want to, but I'm going to do is going to be putting in the on switch active. On switch colon active. Okay, so on switch active, and you're going to use the self function because we are also using the self function inside of this button over here. You can see the switch is also on the self because we want it to be self activated. Okay, so self, put in a comma, and as our switch is also using the base of the widget, you can see over here we are still using the widget. We're going to be putting in the widget over here. So I'm going to put in widget, and you're going to make sure to go off to the next line. Okay, and make sure to also print it out inside the indentation level of the else and the if. Okay, so I'm going to print out a specific button over here. Print, open up the parentheses, and as we're using on, or as we are on the main py file, let's just put in switch over here, which is going to be visible, and use a colon inside. And then what you're going to do is going to be putting in a bit of space, and you're going to add it up with a specific, let's say, the argument and also the variable. So you're going to put in widget, and then you're also going to be putting in dot active. And you're using dot active because we are on the main py file. But as we are using the Boolean value as the active over here on the widget, you can see over here we have active. Now, if I play it out, it won't work because when you're using these type of Boolean values, it won't work unless you use a string. So if you have to turn it into a string, you just put in str over here and then open up the parentheses. Okay. And you can see we have opened up the parentheses, and right after that, we're also going to close it off with the closing parentheses, and now you can play it off. And now when you play it off, you can turn it off and on, and it will show you the Boolean value, which is true or false. Okay. But if we remove out this, let's say like remove, play it out, and it will also show you, but it's not going to end up well. It's not going to give you the exact result which you need to work with. Okay. So now just play it out, and there we go. True. If I turn it off, it's going to show me false. Okay. Now we're going to be interacting, or we're going to make sure that these button or the switch, which we already have over here, interacts with the other button, which we have over here. If you want to modify this switch button or this switch over here, you can also customize it the way you want to. Let's say maybe I want 8, and here maybe I want to use 100. So if I put in play over here, this is how it should look like. Okay. You will also be able to customize the switch just the way you want to. Maybe let's say I want to use 100%. So this is how it should look like. But as the switch is of a specific variable, it's not going to work. So if I put the none value into 1, and if I play this out, this is how it should look like. So you can see it has created a bit of space over here. Okay, so we can turn it on, off, and on anytime we want. And to fix this off, what you basically have to do is make sure that you put in none. And now if you play it off, you'll basically see both of them will be fixed. Okay. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end, and hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of this lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. And in my next class, I'm also going to be showing you how you are going to make sure that both of them are interacting with a slider. Okay. So without any further ado, again, let's move on to our next class of Python for app development.